Demon hunters, warring gods, and forgotten worlds await with T&M Comics. Click the links below to enter their fantastical realm. Greetings, mortals. Welcome to another session of the Infernal Court in musical hell. I'm Diva, your judge, jury, executioner, and I'm not gonna lie to you. This one's gonna hurt.
Deep hurting. Deep hurting.
Those of you who are familiar with our next offender, Sextette, know that it justly deserves its reputation as one of the most astonishingly awful things ever committed to film. Those of you who are not familiar with it, where do I start? Well, the movie was designed as a vehicle for legendary screen idol Mae West. Fair enough, except it was also designed for her when she was 84 and not in the best of health. Film lore holds that West wore an earpiece throughout filming to receive her lines, either because she couldn't remember them, or because West and director Ken Hughes rewrote her horrid script so much that she never had time to study her part. A surprising number of 70s stars turned out for what would be West's last hurrah, including Timothy Dalton, Tony Curtis, Ringo Starr, Alice Cooper, Keith Moon, Regis Philbin, and some assorted Mr. Universes and USAs. Also surprisingly, none of them turned out anything watchable, even by accident.
Enough is enough! I've had all I can stand!
So have I, but I've got a job to do. Let's examine the case of Sextette. Notorious film siren Mae West plays notorious film siren Marlowe Manners, who, as the movie opens, is just leaving the church with her latest husband, Sir Michael Barrington. To hear Regis and the ongoing parade of journalist cameos tell it, this union is bigger than William and Harry's weddings put together, but the small crowd of sign-waving extras in the background kind of contradicts their build-up. The happy couple drive towards their bridal suite, accompanied by the credits and sin number 1, Marlowe's theme. You were not trying very hard at all with those lyrics, were you? It's almost a blessing when they're unintelligible. The ongoing coverage of the Manners-Barrington wedding continues at their hotel, which the exposition reporter explains is also hosting a world summit of the vague, important leaders get together and discuss things variety. In the bridal suite, Marlowe's assistant, agent, publicist, whatever, Dan Turner, is supervising the preparations.
And now we're in the inner sanctum, the bedroom, where the focal point is the magnificent and famous Golden Swan bed, which has been flown in especially from Hollywood for this very special night. Oh, if this bed could only talk.
Yeah, it would say, yeesh, and I thought being in the Schumacher fandom was embarrassing. Dan has his hands full, making sure the wedding night goes off without a hitch while still finding room for Marlowe's incredibly busy schedule. Though it's not so busy that Marlowe doesn't have time to throw some Mae West brand double entendres at the paparazzi.
You get a lot of proposals from your male fans?
Yeah, and what they propose is nobody's business.
The subject turns to what will become of Marlowe's career after this, leading to perhaps the most painfully obvious song cue ever.
Hey for Hollywood! Hooray for Hollywood! Hollywood!
As well as sin number 2. This is some of the most depressing tap dancing I've ever seen, and remember, I've seen this. Although it's hard to measure such things after a couple thousand years, I think it's safe to say sitting through this off-brand waiter's gallop was the longest 2 minutes of my life. Marlowe and Sir Michael head to their room where the groom is eager to get the festivities going, but Dan is making that difficult.
Hi. Go away.
Well, that's a pretty normal reaction to being confronted with a Dom DeLuise character. But Dan is not so easily swayed, as Marlowe also has screen tests and costume tryouts on the docket for tonight.
Well, I'm a new leading man now.
And she certainly won't be needing many clothes for the next few days.
Ugh, sin number 3 on the unending stream of innuendo coming out of everybody's mouth. I know this kind of thing was Mae West's stock in trade, but sweet Lucifer, every other line in this movie sounds like it was written by a creep who sends dick pics on Tinder.
How do you like it in London, Marlowe?
Oh, I like it anywhere.
Even though Sir Michael is eager to get his perv on, he leaves the suite to confront the media's lurid gossip about Marlowe's previous amours, which is what Dan had in mind. See, it turns out that back in the day, Marlowe did some work for the State Department, seducing and occasionally marrying influential foreign dignitaries. One of these, a Russian named Alexei, is currently at the summit nearby and is refusing to reach an accord. But, Dan explains, he's never quite gotten over Marlowe and would be willing to make some concessions in return for spending an evening with her. An evening which Dan assures will be completely platonic and which Sir Michael will never know anything about. And if you believe that, you probably believe North Korea is going to start the denuclearization process any day now.
Sir Michael, are you gay?
Gay?
Yes, gay.
Oh, yes, I would say so. Of course I'm gay. Always gay. Never depressed, happy and gay.
Then again, if Sir Michael is that innocent and or stupid, it just might work. Anyway, Marlowe agrees to do her duty for her country and get back in the saddle one last time, as well as other various locations. Ugh, jumping baby Beelzebub, now this movie's got me doing it. Oh, and there's also this tape that Marlowe's recording her memoirs on, which Dan wants destroyed because it might prove dangerous to international security and her current marriage, more or less in that order. While Dan goes to dispose of the tape, Sir Michael returns.
I suppose you're getting ready. The things you have to go through. Your manager told me all about it.
He told you?
Yes, he did.
And you don't mind?
Of course I mind, but what can I do about it?
Yes, this is one of those movies where people have conversations without actually communicating. Sir Michael is a bit put out by Marlowe's reputation as an oft-married temptress, but he pledges his devotion to her in sin number 4, Love Will Keep Us Together.
Stop.
But I really love you.
Stop.
I'll be thinking of you. Look in my heart and let love keep us together.
I don't know if Timothy Dalton had a voice double, but if he did, it wasn't worth the effort. Either way, he has no clue how to act a song. Mae West's preening and talk singing are even worse.
Young and beautiful, your looks will never be gone.
Awkward.
Yeah, this might be a good time to discuss the elephant in the room. The film industry is notoriously harsh on people aging naturally, especially women, so the temptation to mock Mae West for being past her prime is one we probably shouldn't give in to. But Sextette is not doing her any favors. The script, which, once again I must point out West wrote herself, takes great pains to pretend that Marlowe is hardly any older than the various men around her, in spite of the obvious evidence to the contrary. That makes it very uncomfortable to watch, like the final scene in Sunset Boulevard. Something so painfully disconnected from reality that it should be pitiable, but you keep getting repelled by the inherent wrongness of it. Fortunately, the newlyweds are interrupted again before things can escalate further. Unfortunately, the interruption comes in the form of Marlowe's costume designer, Keith Moon, also making his final film appearance, and a pointless montage of Marlowe trying on various furs, feathers, and more innuendo.
When I'm good, I'm very good. But when I'm bad, I'm better.
Gold. Yes, gold. Gold, real gold, solid gold, gold, yes, our absolute gold.
Did Keith Moon die of an overdose or overacting? Demon, people, demon, what did you expect? Anyway, sin number 5 for that extraneous even by this movie's standard sequence. Dan disposes of Marlowe's MacGuffin tape by throwing it in an oven, then gets Sir Michael out of the picture by calling him downstairs to defend his heterosexuality to the press. Don't these reporters have better things to cover, like a water-skiing squirrel or something? Dan's starting to crack under the pressure of keeping up with Marlowe's busy schedule, and lets off some steam via sin number 6, honey pie.
You became a legend of the silver screen, and now the thought of losing you makes me weak in the knees. What a tease.
Why is Dan singing this particular song anyway? Does he harbor an unrequited love for Marlowe? Did he just want an excuse to dance on a piano? Or does this script just have the attention span of a fruit fly high on Monster Energy drinks? Dolled up in her finest Morticia Addams cosplay and accompanied by the burlesque horns that seem to follow her everywhere, Marlowe goes to her assignation with Alexei. And surprisingly, their date does start innocently enough.
As the great Soviet poet Shakespeare said, if hunger be the music of love, eat it.
No, I believe that was the great poet Alfred Yankovic. And at least Tony Curtis is trying to have fun with this whole mess. This is the first scene that hasn't left me with crippling depression. But gosh darn it all, wouldn't you know it, the cake Dan dropped Marlowe's memoirs into just happens to be the one she and Alexei are enjoying, and she chucks the whole thing out onto the lawn where the tape is found by a dog, then speared by a javelin by a member of the visiting United States athletic team. Did I mention there was also a vaguely defined athletic team staying in the same hotel? Well, there is. So Marlowe has to cut short her icky innuendo with Alexei to have icky innuendo with the athletic team. And if you weren't uncomfortable enough, here's Mae West singing Happy Birthday 21 to a guy young enough to be her grandson.
What happened to that baby love that made you blush when you asked for my autograph?
Unfortunately, the tape gets trampolined up into a decorative lion before Marlowe can grab it. Dan comes to drag Marlowe away to a screen test for her director and yet another ex-husband, Laszlo, and tells Sir Michael to take some pictures with the muscular, sweaty athletic team to prove his masculinity. Proving that Dan has never seen Can't Stop the Music. So Timothy Dalton's stunt double does flips, and then he finds out about the cassette tape, and then he barges in on Marlowe and Laszlo so they can have the old, we were just rehearsing misunderstanding, and sin number 7, what the hell is going on in this movie anyway? Sextette doesn't have a plot so much as a series of scenes barging through one after the other with no sense or coherency. There's some vague drama about Sir Michael being concerned that he's just another future ex-husband to Marlowe, but it never goes anywhere and his behavior makes even less sense as the movie goes on. Meanwhile, in the Summit subplot, it's never explained what they're voting on or why it's important to get Alexei on board. And it doesn't matter because after his tryst with Marlowe does convince him to flip, the negotiations break down anyway over an argument about food.
What? 6 feet.
With my compliments.
These are not kosher.
Who wants to tell them? Anybody? The closest thing the movie has to an actual complication is Vance, a gangster, and, you guessed it, another one of Marlowe's ex-husbands who faked his death some time ago. Now he's back, and since Marlowe can't keep track of her marriages, she's not sure if she divorced Vance before his presumed demise, which throws the legitimacy of her current marriage into question. Dan reminds her that her memoirs should have a record of how the marriage ended, which means everyone is now trying to get the tape they were trying to destroy for the first half of the movie. The tape ends up in Sir Michael's hands, and you'll never guess what he's going to do with it. No, really, you won't, because it fits with absolutely nothing that's happened so far.
Evening, my lord.
Ah, Christopher. How are we?
And has the Secret Service given any thought to the conference menu?
I thought perhaps oysters.
Movie, quick question if I may. How the hell does Sir Michael being in the Secret Service work with, well, anything else in this movie? If he was trying to nab Marlowe's memoirs and the sensitive information therein, why did he show zero interest in them until 15 minutes ago? Why did he spend all that time running around wherever Dan sent him? Was he pretending to be an idiot when he gave the press the impression that he's gay? And if not, how did someone that naive get into MI6? You know what? Never mind. If you had answers to any of these questions, if it had even occurred to you to think them, you wouldn't be in this court right now, and I would be enjoying a dark rum and coke at a resort in Puerto Vallarta. The tape is smuggled into the Summit via the dessert. No fair using that contrivance twice, movie. And there's a bit of nonsense with, let's play the tape! I'm the random mafia character and I say we don't play the tape. Well, I'm the even more random Marlon Brando impersonator and I say we do play the tape. So the tape gets played, and what's so important on it that it could change the balance of world politics?
Fernando Mendoza, Minister of Finance. He was getting so many kickbacks, he developed a pain in his hacienda. Wilhelm von Kleismeyer. He was in the arms racket. First my arms, then the arms of the police.
Yep, that's pretty much it. It's just Marlowe's world leader burn book. Everyone has a good laugh at how corrupt and hypocritical they are. Marlowe's divorce from Vance is confirmed, and Marlowe tells all the world leaders to play nice or she'll spill the dirt on them. Worse, she'll serenade them with sin number 8, baby face.
Baby face. You've got the cutest little baby face.
Cheesy disco music and Mae West's talk singing. Two terrible tastes that taste worse together. So Marlowe has brokered world peace, somehow, but the victory is a hollow one as Sir Michael has left her due to being unable to compete with her long line of affairs. Or maybe because he got what he wanted when he stole her personal information, I don't know, and I'm sure the movie doesn't either. No, yeah, Alice Cooper was supposed to be in this film too, wasn't he? He's getting a pretty good trumpet sound out of that piano. Cooper boosts Marlowe's spirits with sin number 9, Next.
Another day, another scene, another moment on the silver screen.
The housekeeping staff flopping around in the background is yet another stop on the long cringe fest this movie has been. Speaking of cringing, Alice Cooper looks noticeably uncomfortable with Mae West fondling him, and remember, this is the guy who drank chicken blood on stage. And the song, which is one big, oh well, on to the next romance anthem, contradicts the resolution, where Marlowe decides to go after Sir Michael and save their marriage, and sneaks aboard his yacht before it can leave harbor.
Do you know, darling, you've done more for your country than Paul Revere.
Well, I'm looking forward to saying the same thing he said.
Oh no, May, I beg of you, save your one last remaining shred of dignity and don't...
The British are coming.
You said it. I warned you this was going to be painful, didn't I? Sextette isn't just a bad movie, it's a bad movie that doesn't even have the mercy of being bad in an amusing, shocking, or even infuriating way. It's just depressing. The final gasp of a career that deserved a much better coda. You watch it and you're just embarrassed for everyone taking part in it. I don't want to punish anyone involved in this movie. I want to give them the Men in Black neuralizer treatment so they can forget it. Would that I were so lucky. So let it be recorded. This session of the Infernal Court in musical hell is now adjourned.